Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, horse racing happy hour. Happy birthday to us.
Oh, that's how you do
birthday song.
it.
Originated right around Louie's backyard, right there in Anchorage is where the happy birthday song originated.
There you go.
So and it is is this number 4 or 5, whatever? It's 4, right? This is our 4th birthday.
It's our 4th birthday, our 3rd shirtless anniversary show for sure. There you go. Famously on the first one, we got a text from Kevin Kirstein. Is Louie shirtless on the show right now? Yes, Kevin.
Yes,
I'm quite shirtless. How about that? There you go. Well, happy birthday, Mike. How are you, man?
I mean, I'll tell you what. It's been it's an eventful day because not only is it our birthday episode for here, we celebrated 12 years today with my real estate company, and we had a big big agent annual meeting today. Went really well. And, sports gambling is now official here in Kentucky.
A little wager in Kentucky. How about that? I like that.
My first sports bet, Zach will be happy to know, was on the Detroit Lions. So the Detroit Lions first played today.
And you're like, Louie, we haven't had this shit in my state my entire life, and my first bet's on the freaking Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions is my first bet. Yeah, that happened today, and
you took that -2, or how did that work out? What'd you end up doing?
Yeah. I'd use the again. And should we pub this on? No, I guess we probably shouldn't. So
what's that?
You want to pub the radio station's promo code or not?
Oh, of course, yeah. Hey, if you need a promo code out there, you've never had a DraftKings account. I'm a DraftKings dude. WHBE. Go ahead and grab that. And just $200 bonus bets. You just have to make a $5 bet to get that. You got a week to use them, and you do not get the stake back. But if you win a bet, you do get the winnings from those bets. So yeah, WHBE. There you go.
That's right. So I got my $25
morning gig, which you'll be hanging out tomorrow. How about that?
It's like 8 $25 bets is what they give you, basically. I think is what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. I think 25 is kind of the minimum thing or whatever. And then so my hope is to hit a couple of $40 bets or whatever this weekend and just carry that money and play with it the rest of the year.
Yeah, so that's what I got. Are
you
at least 3 of them so far?
Do you enjoy the old Monte Cristo?
They're okay. They're a little light for me.
They are light for you.
Yeah, so they're not bad.
What was your first sports bet? I'll go first. In high school, this kid convinced me that the Dallas Cowboys were not going to beat the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. And stupidly,
I not played the Super Bowl. Is correct.
So probably the conference championship game. Yeah.
Sorry, conference championship. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah.
So, me having no money, he bet me $100, and the idiot that I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. Cowboys are going to beat San Fran. Yeah, I came back to school that Monday, and he was crying because he lost $100 and he didn't have it either.
That you didn't have.
So
he did not have $100. Yeah, no, that was not.
I definitely cannot even remember my first horse bet. I mean, basically came out of the womb betting on horses. Right. By the way, we did Kentucky Derby Festival. Started the planning for how we're going to support Derby 150, and we had a little, inner board handicapping contest where they did 3 historical races. You're champion, I turned $5,000 into $40,000.
I heard about this. Is it actually a thing, or did someone at work lie to me?
Did Ken Salvaggi? Yeah, no, it was a thing. It was a thing. I might have gotten an inside tip. So
I might have known who won the Derby in 2018. Yeah, right.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was the Shawnee Stakes. It was the Shawnee Stakes. Yeah.
How about that?
It was the Dunbar Road year. Is that what it was? So
okay.
Anyway,
man, oh man, Dunbar.
The first kind of bet what Zach's talking about reminds me of the 1986 national championship game when Duke played Louisville, and I think I told my uncle that Duke was going to beat Louisville to death, and I was really upset because Kentucky won in the Final Four because Kentucky would have won it that year. So
I think my first one was just on a bracket in high school. I think my buddy Sam Oliveris ran the bracket challenge, and I think that was my first one. So there you go.
I would actually say here in Kentucky, you come out of the win betting on horses and filling out brackets. Like it's like
right.
I mean, it's always been part of that life on that, So
there you go.
Yeah. So
we will have Matt Dinerman on in a couple of minutes. Obviously, he's accepted the job at Oaklawn, man. So he's gonna be calling grade ones in the spring.
Probably will not be shirtless though.
We'll see.
Okay, you never know.
We'll see.
Do you know what's interesting about today being the first day of sports betting in the state of Kentucky?
It's not the first day of sports betting. It's the first day of online sports betting.
Oh, online sports betting. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that?
The Lions are going to lose to the Packers.
It is also the anniversary of the Black Sox indictment.
How about that? There you go.
So that's a pretty kind of just a little cool piece of trivia to go along with all that. All right, Louie, like you said, we got Dinerman coming on for our Horse Racing 101 with the track announcer. He's probably, hopefully he'll let us know if Joey Votto is going to retire or not. I love.
Man, how many people do you think that listen to this show every week got that joke?
I don't know, but I also
you have to be a long time listener of this show to get that joke.
He that's a good text that day, and just congratulated him and whatever, and he got back right away, and he's great. And then he posted something on Facebook, and so I just put like Joey Votto celebrating in the comments as a gift. I've never even checked to see if he got an interaction or not like that. So,
man. Good stuff.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do a little recap of the races from last weekend. Talking about the Pennsylvania Derby and the Cotillion. And we got to. I want to get the Turf Monster stuff out of the way here, Louie, early on.
Okay, sure.
Because we love our people up at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and
they're great.
Roger and Matt and all those guys. I mean, they're incredible, and they got the thrill of a lifetime to win a stakes race on
rated
Saturday.
Stakes. On the premier card of the United States that day, yes,
and then Louie, you get the text the next day, and it just had to be absolutely devastating. You want to just kind of tell people about that?
I was going back and forth. Roger's a friend of the show, watches a lot, listens every week. Really appreciate Roger for that, but also just for friendship for sure. Every time we're up there, he makes sure he checks in on us and make sure we have access to that owner suite so that we can grab bottles of water when it's real warm up there or whatever. And just on Saturday, texting back and forth, something I like to do with people when I know they have a horse in and they're at the track is I'll catch screenshots on my phone. So I got a couple great ones of Tyler walking back to the winner circle and that kind of stuff. And I wrote to him, man, Tyler on your horse, Barbara Livingston taking the photo, and you won a graded stakes. What a freaking, this is the top, man. Congratulations. And he was always so excited. And I just get a text the next day, hey, from the top to the bottom, accident in the trailer today, and he passed away. And I told Issel the next Monday, the next day, the day after that, I said, I couldn't do horse ownership, man. That would break my heart. It just break my heart. Like, I watch people go through what they go through with their dogs, and I can't imagine, it's very different with your horse, right? I mean, if you got one that, this is the absolute staple of what they do with what, their ownership and different horses, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking. Because, look, man, I said on the show last week, that horse I thought had a serious shot regardless of the weather because he just wins over everything, and he did. Mm-hmm. And that's my memory of Nobody Listens, is that he won over everything, and that's how I remember him. Just super successful. Always gave you, if you bet on him, you felt like you were getting the best effort out of the horse. And I'll always have the winner circle picture on my birthday at Turfway, so grateful for that. But man, yeah, it just sucks because the idea that we were going to be there in Arcadia to watch that horse run in the Breeders' Cup, and now we're not, is heartbreaking. So it's really.
So Matt, Jason, Roger,
Nobody Listens, man, gave us a bunch of great fun the last couple of years, and especially for those three guys to get to go on that ride with a horse they bought for less than $5,000, man. That's what it's all about in horse racing. So, RIP. Yeah, hopefully they'll find another one somehow. But yeah.
So, not to put a bummer on the show, but we feel for you guys. The three of you all have been great to us, and We wish you
hopefully
nothing
we'll see
but the best.
at Churchill. I don't know, maybe Saturday you guys are coming down, but hopefully definitely in November.
So just to go with those three guys, by the way, I was pulling it up on Equibase here. 30 starts for those guys, 12 first place finishes with all their horses.
Yeah.
7 seconds, 3/3. So there you go. So they've almost half their winnings though have happened this year, and that's what happens when you get a horse like nobody listens.
A horse of a lifetime like nobody listens. But yeah,
$531,000 in earnings for nobody listens.
I think Roger just jumped on. Roger, we're going to show the replay, man. So if you're not ready to watch the replay, go ahead and jump off. But let's watch Nobody Listens just absolutely dominate the Turf Monster. Zach, if you have it, go ahead and play that from the Parks YouTube page.
Zach might have had the first one pulled up. I can't remember if he had the.
Okay.
Let's see. Doing it right now.
Oh, there we go.
It's all that magic. Roses for Deborah.
Jessica Paquette on the call.
On the rail, Determined Kingdom. 5 Dreams, Just Jeremy. At the top of the stretch, Nobody Listens. Says, come and catch me if you can. On the outside, Smooth B is game today. Roses for Deborah. The filly needs to do a little bit better. Nobody Listens. The half, 48-2. There's about a 16th left to go. Nobody Listens. It's going to be loud and clear. Nobody Listens gets the win in the Turf Monster, followed by Smooth B, Roses for Deborah.
And they were able to keep it on the turf, so Nobody Listens.
And then they went off the turf immediately after that race. Yeah,
impressive win right there, though, for sure for Nobody Listens.
That's how I'll always remember that race.
Absolutely. Okay, Louie, the other two big races of the weekend: the Cotillion and the Pennsylvania Derby. I think Zach's pulling up the Pennsylvania Derby. Zach, give me a thumbs up if that's the case, just so I make sure that I don't, there it is. Great. We
got a serious horse from that one, man. Saudi Crown is a serious
Crown.
horse, man. We'll talk about it after the replay, but that's a serious horse, man. Late bloomer in the 3-year-old class. We've seen this before.
Cheer of the crowds welcomes them at the finish line. Saudi Crown. He hits the top of the stretch in command. Magic Tap coming up the rail. Reincarnate spinning his wheels. Needs to do a bit better. Dreamlike is flying late. Il Miracolo with a shot. Saudi Crown has led every step of the way. Can he take them home? There's a 16th left to go. Saudi Crown on the outside. Dreamlike flying, but it's a coronation for Saudi Crown in the Pennsylvania Derby. He gets the win over
Saudi Crown.
Just calls, man. By the way, the loud and clear with Nobody Listens, the crowning with Saudi Crown. She does a good job of having those ready, and I imagine she's got to have a couple dozen ready for the stakes races, as far as the different horses and different things. So no, just a really, really excellent set of calls for her. She's really settled into that job really well. But Saudi Crown, my only question with him is, if you run him in the Classic, can he get to 10 furlongs? I just don't know. It's a lot, I think, to ask that horse with his running style to get to 10 furlongs, but we've seen it before. It's going to be less taxing over that dirt at Santa Anita as well, so maybe that'll set up better for him as a front runner. And so if you, I don't know, if you wanted to bet a 3-year-old in the Classic, is it Saudi Crown? Is it Arcangelo? Which one do you think you're betting on, Mike?
I'm probably leaning towards Arcangelo.
I agree with you.
I think that Arcangelo
the distance, right?
Yeah, the distance for sure. And like you right there, Saudi Crown, if that thing goes a mile and a quarter, Saudi Crown probably comes in second, right? Dreamlike was coming on pretty hard.
Yep.
And so I ran on Dreamlike, and then of course Frenchie on Saudi Crown there. I think so. I mean, that was Pletcher, Brad Cox, 1-2 right there. Both horses I believe we talked about on the show last week, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm fascinated, Louie, when I watch these replays and that kind of like heavy slop.
Right.
You can look at these horses and see how much mud they're kicking up.
Yeah.
Saudi Crown was like just gliding across that surface. I mean, it was really, really impressive. Getting the dub right there, was the favorite, showed why it was the favorite, and just really performed well right there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, does a horse like Dreamlike try to run it back? Is that another kind of just late
bloomer, right?
Late bloomer right there. Are we going to see a couple, I wouldn't say they're air gates or anything like that, but, this 3-year-old class is certainly open enough where someone could come in that late blooming class and start to make some noise. And the older horses aren't that good either. So
that's right. You just got to beat White Abario drink. If you can get by White Barrio, then you're good to go. I imagine, by the way, that that Irad will stay with White Barrio rather than switching over here. But
I would probably say that's probably pretty safe.
Yeah, pretty safe. But by the way, we had Steve Kornacki on the show last week. Thanks to Steve. I'm sure he's very happy that we didn't do this last week. But he gave out Ceiling Crusher, man.
Yeah.
And he was very like, man, I don't want to, oh, the weather, oh, this, oh, that.
He loves Ceiling Crusher.
Did you bet on him? He kept that $100 win bet on Ceiling Crusher.
Here, as they make their way through the turn, less than a quarter mile left to go in the cotillion. Ceiling Crusher has led every step of the way. Hoosier Phillies all out in second. Pretty Mischievous set down for the drive. She's making up ground, but they're going to have to reel in Ceiling Crusher. Ceiling Crusher, Pretty Mischievous. Here comes a cult from the outside. There's a 16th left to go. It is Ceiling Crusher, Pretty Mischievous on the outside. A cult, a thrilling finish. Ceiling Crusher breaks through in the cotillion stakes.
I think she wins at 1 1/8 if they keep running.
I think Ceiling Crusher breaks through.
See?
Yeah, she
is, man. She's doing the damn thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, interesting race there. Fun to watch her grow up as well. Another later-ish bloomer. We get the Doug O'Neill thing, which is the why not us. I fully expect her in the Breeders' Cup Distaff because it's Doug O'Neill.
Yeah.
Why not us? Just go around the horse. That's his attitude. I think very much that you'll see I think you'll see Ceiling Crusher in the distaff, and your guess is
you
as
like
good as mine.
3-year-old's chance in the distaff.
We got some good older horses, but it's not.
That's the one. We got some good older horses for sure.
But it wasn't like it was last year, for example, in Keeneland. So
no.
I don't know yet.
Pretty Mischievous is still the class of that
class. Yeah. She still hit the board and whatever else. So yeah, she didn't do anything to hurt her standing there. The weather was so dreadful. I mean, every track around them canceled, all of them. So for them, for the horses to show up the way that they did on Saturday, I don't hold it against any of them.
And she was still coming on pretty strong at the end. Great ride by Tyler on Pretty Mischievous, but yeah, Ceiling Crusher at that 5-1 win right there for Kornacki and his khakis, getting it done. Love it. Love it. Show's good luck, man. Finally, the show's got some good luck to it. So, all right, we got our boy. He's on. He's probably like, what is Mike and Louie doing? He's in the back. Matt, are you excited to see all this skin? Can we not hear him? Matt, you hear us? There he is.
Hey, Matt, can you hear us, buddy? You can. Okay. All right. Why don't you try to say Oh, we can't hear you, man. Yeah. So, Zach, can you check on that?
Well, I don't think there's anything Zach can do. Matt will figure it out. So he's a pro. We'll get him on. He'll say hello at some point. So maybe
Matt's going to come back. We'll see him in a minute.
Yeah.
Matt's going to try again. There we go. There's a light. And I like that Dinerman and Rybeltowski do the show in their beds.
Yeah.
I don't know why I like that, but I do.
Especially when we're in our birthday suits. Kind of creepy to me,
I disagree. I think it's sexy. By the way, Matt's appearance is sponsored by our friends at the Maryland Million, the Jim McKay Maryland Million. On Saturday, October 14th, you can visit MarylandMillion.com. Get caught up on all things related to Maryland's day at the races. Stay updated on contenders with the Maryland Million. Watch, purchase club tables, check out this year's press and souvenir guides, learn about sponsorship opportunities, and more, all available online, MarylandMillion.com. If you are out there and you get a VIP bag, look for something from the Horse Racing Happy Hour. Inside of that bag, we will have something for you out there, along with a booth at the Maryland Million, so you can find all kinds of stuff about us out there at the Maryland Million. Very happy to be connected up with the folks at Maryland Thoroughbred. They've been great partners of ours since, before the Preakness even. So really appreciate that.
All right, Matt, are you back in with us now?
Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sound.
All right.
How you doing?
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
This is our birthday episode, so we're in our birthday suits,
every year.
Yeah.
Ironically, no suit at all. I'll keep mine on. You guys look a lot better.
I don't know about that. I mean, there's a reason why we're above the nipples right here, so keep as PG as possible. Matt, I need to know what the interview process at Oaklawn is like. Do you have to do a site visit to make sure that they've got a space for all the rubber duckies? Do each one of the rubber duckies negotiate their own contract? How's that go?
Well, I did travel out there, to make sure really the interview, like you said, it was more about making sure that the Ducks could, find a proper home out there in Arkansas. But I think they're really going to like the water there, the Hot Springs, Arkansas water. It's a little hot at times, the hot springs for them, but I think that they're going to enjoy it, and I think that their master here is going to enjoy it as well. And yeah, went out there, and luckily it's all sort of a package, right? So when I bring one duck, they all go.
There you go. Matt Dinerman, 3 Colts Handicap on Twitter. If you aren't following him, you're the only person horse racing not following him if you're not. Look, Matt, it's an interesting time. We heard the talk about, Golden Gate not running anymore. And obviously Mike and I, immediate thought to you, what does that mean for Matt's future? You've been on this show before and you talked about being a California guy and those kinds of things. Talk about the emotions of moving to Arkansas.
Well, it's a wonderful opportunity, and life's about an adventure, right? And like you said, I'm so Californian. Just everything about me is Californian because this is where I've lived my whole life, with the exception of seasonally in Washington State for a few summers in the spring. But I'm really looking forward to it because it's a new way of living for me. It will be a new way of living. It's a different way of living. But everybody there that I've talked to has been extremely kind. I've heard nothing but great things about Oaklawn, and they value what I value in a lot of respects, especially when it comes to racing. And hey, they like to go out and have good food after the races. They like to handicap the races. They're all in. So I am more than excited to get back there and experience what it's like to be an Arkansas resident, especially in a beautiful place like Hot Springs. And that's one thing I love too, is being a part of the community when I'm at a racetrack. It's not just about calling the races. It's not just about watching the races or being right betting or being right picking a winner. It's about being a part of the community. So that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to.
Did you have to caveat the fact that you're friends with degenerates like Louie and Mike, or no?
Yeah, I did. I had to. Yeah. I had to work around that a little bit. I didn't really want to mention them, but
Listen, I've always wanted to go. I've never been to Oaklawn, and now we got a reason to get out there, Louis.
You got a total reason now. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You gotta. I imagine that really that job at Oaklawn it's in the upper tier. I mean, so when someone like that calls, I mean, whether you were at Golden Gate or not, it's always something that you got to seriously listen to.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at all the announcers who have been there, every single one, and you could make a very strong argument that they're all at the top of their profession for what they do. I'm the 7th guy there, so it's got, of course, a history, not necessarily that recently, but in general, a history of having good announcers and calling big races and being a top destination in the winter. So it's definitely an honor, for sure. I feel very honored and privileged to be given that call. And I always say, you want to take your job seriously as an announcer. You want to do a good job. I mean, you don't want it, but just for a lack of a better term, you don't want it to be a clown show. But at the same time, you don't want to take yourself too seriously. So that's how I look at it. Do a good job, do the best I can there, but at the same time, don't take myself too seriously. Have fun, meet the people, and be really honored and excited and really thankful to get an opportunity like that.
And what's it going to be like for you to be with a racetrack that's tied to a casino? Golden Gate wasn't being with the racetrack that's tied to a casino. Golden Gate was not tied to a casino, right? I didn't think so.
No, it's not. No, we don't even have casino revenue here.
So is that going to be different for you? You mean just the dynamics of being with a racetrack that's tied to the casino?
I don't think it's going to be that different. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still going to go and do my thing. I was talking to someone this morning, actually. I was on the backstretch at Golden Gate, and I said, at the end of the day, whether I've got a group of $10,000 claimers that are, let's just say 12 of them are running a mile on the whatever, and I got a field of 12 in the Arkansas Derby, it's the same thing. Memorize your horses, call the race. They're both going in a circle. One field is going significantly slower than the other field, but that's okay. And do your job and trust your process. So whether there's a casino attached to the racetrack or not, I'm still going to follow my process when it comes to actually doing the job. But Obviously, with that casino and how things are in the current state of racing, obviously I have to A, understand what it's all about, and B, be happy that Oaklawn is in the state of Arkansas has been able to take advantage of the fact that they can work with that casino revenue to help prop up their racing. So in terms of doing the job, having a casino next door is not going to change how I do my job, but it is pretty darn cool when you look at what it has been able to help Oaklawn achieve probably over the last, 3-4 years.
So I know you've called the San Francisco Mile. That's a grade 3. Have you called other graded stakes? Because obviously, man, you're going to be calling some grade 1s. How about that?
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I've called the All-American here is graded. The San Francisco Mile is graded. El Camino Real Derby at one time was graded when I got here. The Long Acres Mile is graded. I've called that. So I haven't called the grade 2. I haven't called the grade 1 yet. But I guess, this coming year in 2024 is going to be my shot.
Yeah, you'll get plenty of those. How about this, Louie? The Martha Washington is not a graded stakes.
I know.
That is ridiculous. You look at some of these races that aren't graded stakes, even on this that have run out at Oaklawn. They're really,
Honeybee's
really good.
Not graded, right? I mean,
let's see. The Honeybee's a grade 3.
It is grade 3. Okay.
Yeah, but the Smarty Jones, the Martha Washington, they're not graded stakes.
Southwest is grade 3, right? And then
yeah. Rebel obviously grade 2, and you get into that Arkansas Derby grade 1, the Apple Blossom, which is an awesome race every year, being a grade 1.
Oakland handicap classics. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of races. Yeah. Matt, I mean, the move itself, you got to talk me through it. San Diego guy. We see the pictures of you with your dad at Del Mar and all those kinds of things. I mean, what's Dad's response? Dad's the guy taking you to the track when you're a kid and gets you into things. What was his response to you getting the Arkansas job?
Oh, he was floored. I mean, he was absolutely thrilled. And, I was showing him some pictures and I just got a spot I'm going to be staying at. I'm going to rent a place. It's right on the lake. And he said, when can I head out there? I want to come with you. I mean, he's just absolutely thrilled. I think my dad, he's always told me, I'll be quite frank on here, when he goes to the track, he wants to make sure that I get my own experience, and he doesn't want people to feel that he's interfering or being a helicopter parent. And I know he's really proud, but, he sort of lets me do my thing at the track, which is wonderful. But he's been very supportive of me in my career. And actually, when Golden Gate was closing, we talked about it. I came home. Actually, I was planning to come home the day after they announced the closing that Golden Gate was going to close. So I got into the car. It was the day after, and he handed me this baseball because I used to be a pitcher. And he said, "Take control of your game," because when I was a pitcher, he would always tell me that. And he just said, "Now's the time for you to take control of your game." And very shortly after that, we were talking about possibly applying for Oaklawn, and he basically said, "Take control of your game. If that's something you're interested in, try and go get it." And I slept on it, and the next day I sent in the application, and the rest is history. So I am, Dad's been a great supporter of mine. So is my mom, and we've been through a lot together, really. Even though I've been doing things and doing all this work, he's seen the whole thing. My mom's seen the whole thing, and I think for them, they're pretty proud and they're pretty excited for me.
I love those kind of moments, man. I appreciate that very much. That peek behind the curtain. Go ahead, Louie.
No, I was just gonna say, I know you'll miss the horse people and you'll miss those views at Golden Gate, but outside of that, what will you miss about the Bay Area?
I think the people. I mean, when you're here for 6 years, you meet people, you get to know people, you become friends with people, you do things together. I think when I'm thinking about leaving, what's that going to feel like? I think about, well, I'm not going to see this person, or, oh my gosh, me and this person aren't going to go to baseball games anymore.
Right.
I enjoy, the sporting events. I like going to the baseball games here, whether it be the Athletics or the Giants. I went to the San Jose Sharks game. I went to a 49ers game once. So I'm going to miss going to those sporting events. And And I've been taking up golf, so of course I can go golfing in Hot Springs. They've got plenty of courses in Arkansas, but it's the experience and going out with your friends and getting to know people and the community here. So I think that's what I'm going to miss the most is the people.
Matt, the correct answer is the food. The correct answer is the food. In Hot Springs, Arkansas, I will miss the food.
There's a lot of fried food I know in Arkansas. But you know what? So they've got some good places. I already been told all these places I got to visit, and there are a lot of people that want to go to dinner, so that's going to help.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah, I will miss. Look. I mean, like there are certain foods here that are unbelievable. You know, especially like Mexican food. Like if you like Mexican food, California is a good place to be.
I'm thinking if you're if you're into sports, that especially knowing the racing calendar out at Oakland, I would just be SEC football road tripping it just to check out all those different SEC football venues. It's college football, I get it, but it's about as close to the NFL as you're going to get, and I think those atmospheres are worth it. So, although I know it's kind of hard, Oakland's not easy to get to a lot of other places around the country either. So,
look, all I know is Matt's going to be done sometime in May. That leaves him time to get up to Churchill in June. So I'm looking forward to seeing Matt at Churchill next June. It's going to be great.
It'll be good.
I visited Keeneland while they're racing, and I've gone to Churchill, but not when they're racing. So I've loved to go to Churchill when they're racing.
We'll have to shove Travis Stone out of the way, get Matt Dinerman to call an optional claimer on a Thursday or something. That'd be great. The other part of this, though, Matt, are you going to be at Breeders' Cup this year, or do you have to call races up at Golden Gate?
No, duty calls. I got to be here.
Okay.
If it was next year, who knows? But this year, duty calls, and I'm still at Golden Gate until very late November. So I've got plenty of time. It's not that much time, but enough to where I'm not leaving right away, which I'm actually happy about because I want to be able to, make sure to say goodbye to everybody and really get the last bit of my time here and let it sink in a bit.
Well, I'm sure that last day will be pretty emotional too.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I mean, it's like one of these things you don't know how it's going to feel until the day comes, and I think that's going to be, it's such a strange dynamic, for lack of a better term, because most of the time you go to a different racetrack and someone succeeds you and you go, okay, this is, hopefully you like the person that's taken over and you wish them all the best. And that basically the track's in good hands. But in this scenario, knowing that, there's not a lot of time left for Golden Gate, it's different. And I was pretty touched already just by how many people have been coming up to me and congratulating me at Golden Gate, because I know how difficult it is for a lot of people right now, but they're still genuinely happy for me. And I thought that was really touching and really moving. And I had a moment at Golden Gate in between races where I just sat there and there was this level of sadness. Just, knowing that there are a lot of people who are, they're not sure what's going to happen and they're not sure on their futures, but they're still taking the time to congratulate me. It was very touching for me.
What do you think? And Matt, I hate to go from you having that moment to sort of a logistics question about Northern California racing, but the fair circuit's really trying to figure out a way to keep those, those races in place. Do you think they're going to be able to do that in those sort of those meets? I know you've called like the wine country meet and that kind of stuff. Do you think there's a chance that some of those state fair meets will be able to keep their legs?
I definitely think there's a chance. Yeah, I think there's a chance. I mean, we're in very uncertain times, uncharted waters. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't think it's going to happen or I do think it's going to happen. I don't know enough about the scenario. There's obviously a lot of things to work out in that regard. It all comes back to, the economics of it, and is that going to be feasible? And, we're horse population wise in the state of California in general, I mean, there's not a lot of wiggle room. So you have to hope that you can keep all those horses and horsemen. But I know for sure they're definitely doing everything they can at Capital Racing, as they're going to be called, which is the California Association Racing Fairs right now, working with Santa Rosa, which has got a turf course, working with Pleasanton, Sacramento, and trying to figure out what works best to keep Northern California racing alive. They're trying that. So I think we're going to get a much better view we got about a year until really things are, at Golden Gate die down completely. So they've got some time to figure it out now.
I will let Matt go on this, and I'm just going to make a comment, Matt. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. You were on this show once, and I will never forget it. We were talking about Golden Gate being the track announcer there, and I brought up the fact that you were from San Diego, the Del Mar job, blah, blah, blah. And you said something really profound, and I don't know that you were trying to be profound at the time. And you said, I've got one of the best jobs in the country, and if I spend the rest of my career at Golden Gate, I'll be one of the luckiest people in horse racing. And I know you meant it. And so I'm saying this because if anyone from Oak Lawn is watching or listening, you're getting a guy that once he's on your team, he wants to be on your team for the long haul, and that's who Matt Dinerman is. And I'm excited, Matt, because I think you are not just a great race announcer. I think you're great for the sport, man. I think you get the interaction with the fans. I think you're going to have a ton of opportunities to do that in Hot Springs, which is awesome. I think that part of the job, frankly, for you is going to be mind-blowing. I think you're going to be stunned at the crowds and the interest and the fan interest and just how much people in that part of the country really love horse racing. So best of luck, man. Whatever's next for you, whether it's, hey, if it's Oak Lawn forever, man, that could be just fine. And hopefully that's, that ends up working out for you. But I personally, man, I cannot wait to hear your voice and watch a grade one. And I'm so pumped for you, man.
Thank you, Louie. I appreciate that. That's really kind of you. I've been great friends of the show, of course, and happy to come on anytime. And yeah, that's
remember that next year around the Rebel and around the Arkansas Derby.
That'd be great. That'd be really great.
All right.
You put your shirts on during that.
We will have our shirts on. Yeah,
I'll come on. That's the only stipulation.
All right, fine. I'll put clothes on for Matt Dinerman. That sounds good. All right, 3 Colts Handicap on Twitter. Go find him. Get into it before he gets to Arkansas. And of course, man, bunch of fun racing down the stretch here in 2023 at Golden Gate as well. Make sure you check out Matt's calls Saturday through Monday right now. Great Monday, fun Monday cards, frankly, up there as well. I love that move to Monday as well. Thanks, Matt. We really appreciate you, bud.
Thank you, guys. Mandatory payout this Monday.
Oh.
Mandatory payout. Keep it in mind. Closing day of the summer meet, so we're going to have mandatory payouts, and we got 10 races on Monday. First nice. 85 our time. So something to watch this weekend along with all the other good racing and heading into Monday.
Awesome.
Love
Thanks, Matt.
All right. See you, Matt.
We'll see you, buddy.
All right, Matt mentioned the big racing this weekend, and so we're going to move on to our handicap. Go ahead.
I want to be very clear about something with Matt. We've had him on a lot. I think as much as we've had any guests on this show.
I mean, he's up there with Sherba and Barry and
Illman, right?
Illman for sure, and obviously John Piazek. Yeah, I mean, we're starting to have our favorites for sure, and he's definitely there.
Our numbers in the Bay Area and in Sacramento went up when we started having Matt on this show.
Big time, and it's one of our biggest markets.
Easily one of our best markets is Northern California. So when we got the news, I obviously thought of Matt first, but I thought of all the people that hang out with this show too, right? And I hate it for them, but kind of a cool opportunity as well to follow Matt to Arkansas. Like, if you're in Northern California, follow a guy that's been part of your horse racing experience there. I do hope they figure out that fair experience, because Matt has called some of those races, Santa Rosa, different places, and he'll put out crowd pictures. There's thousands of people at those races. So I really do hope they figure out the fair circuit. I'm Mike, that's the one thing of California racing that I'm very jealous of, is that they go to those little state fairgrounds, those little county fairgrounds and stuff, and have those races. I wish we had that in Kentucky. I would definitely go, but it's just not part of the culture here. So
I mean, if they still had racing at Woodlawn Park, we'd be there a lot and all that kind of
stuff. Yeah, they want to sponsor the show.
Yeah, yeah. He's going to do great, and we'll be here for those fans in Northern California.
He wants that fan interaction so much. He's going to get so much of it in Arkansas.
So much of it. It's going to be great.
It's going to be such a good move for him. I'm really excited.
Yeah. We're going to head on to the handicapping section of the show. And we're going to start out at the Belmont at the Big A as they continue the Belmont renovations. And we're going to go to the Vosburg, which is a great race, great sprint race every year. 7 furlongs on the dirt, $250,000 for this stakes race. That's a grade 2. We're going to see the return of Cody's Wish, who we have not seen since the disappointing third place finish in early August at Saratoga. Cody Wish right here. This seems like a great place to bounce back, Louie. What do you think?
He went 2 turns at Saratoga. Is he going 2 turns here?
7 furlongs in the Big A is only 1 turn. Is that correct?
Oh, 1 turn. Cody's Wish. Next race.
Yeah, all right. This is a single. So no doubt about it.
I do think if you're looking for a horse in second spot there, Accretive has been running well at the distance, both those most recent runs at Saratoga, and the horse broke its maiden over 6.5 at Belmont. If they can handle if Accretive is the 4 horse, if that horse can handle the track at Belmont, can definitely do it at Aqueduct as well. So that might be if you're trying to figure out a way to make money on this race, because I do think Cody's Wish 1 to 8, 1 to 9 kind of number by the time we get to post. Look for that exacta maybe with the 4 horse Accretive.
The next race we're going to talk about, we're going to skip a race and go to race 5, which is grade 2, the Gallant Blossom Stakes. And in this race, we got another couple. It's real heavy. Are we going to see a real chalky day out of the Belmont of the Big A?
I don't know. It's always possible. I think on stakes days when the best horses are there and when the best horses win, then it turns into a chalky day for sure. But, they were off the turf today. I think there's a very good chance they're off tomorrow. So if it's a little, the track's
a dirt race, Louis. The Gallant.
I know, but if the track's a little damp, it was okay today. But if there's still some dampness to it, we might actually get some horses that prefer that damp, wet go, whatever you have. And so we got a chance at some upsets, I think.
Okay, so Caramel Swirl coming in at a very big even money number here. Yep. Is who's the most likely competition for Caramel Swirl?
Undervalued asset, the 3 horse here for IRAD and for Chad Brown. 2 good runs in a row, one at Saratoga and an allowance, and then came back at Charlestown in the Charlestown Oaks. Wet fast that day. Some of the horses liked it. Some didn't. Lost to Vava that day. I don't think there's any shame in losing to Vava. Interesting step up, though, here because as a 3-year-old, she's running against older horses. So an interesting move by the Brown Barn to put her in this field. But because it's a shorter field, I think she's got a really serious chance. I looked hard as well at the 4 Begwin in this race, in this spot as well. I don't think that horse has been running in good enough company to do anything. But the horse does have a win at Aqueduct over 6.5 furlongs. At Belmont over 6.5 furlongs in the slop. So if it ends up being like a sloppy day, maybe Begwin's one that you look at as well. The Caramel Swirl does have a 96 speed figure over that muddy go last time out in the Ballerina. In that race, though, were Echo Zulu, Goodnight Olive, and Monterey. Good news for her. None of those horses are in this race. So I think you could use those 2, 1 and 3, and move on from this one.
If that name Begwin sounds familiar, it's because that horse actually was on the Oaks Trail in 2022. Came in second in the Fantasy, skipped the Oaks, and then raced in the Black Hat Susan. And then since then has really been in that sprinting company. I'm trying to think really, Louis, gun runners gun runners that are sprinters.
Yes.
Yeah. Who comes to mind for you when you think of that?
They don't. Not yet. I mean, not yet. I don't think, though, I don't think, for example, this is a bad move. I think Allard's making the right move here.
No. So this horse is definitely a sprinter.
Yeah, she is for sure.
If we're going to get any kind of champion type sprinters out of the gun runners or not. So,
and remember too, breeding isn't just dad. Breeding can be mom too, right? And so if you get more mom's characteristics and she's more of a sprinter, sometimes it leans toward that. You just have dad's build, but mom's preference for shorter races, and so that might be what we have here with Beckham.
All right, we're gonna move on to the 1.5 mile turf race, the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, which is a grade 1. This is a great race every year, and this year, Louis, who do you like in this one? Is it all going to be Rebels
Romance is here, and she's 0 for 2 this year, but one of those runs was in Maidan. Then she comes stateside and just runs out of time in the Bowling Green. And by runs out of time, I mean she kicked Bill Buick off after clipping heels. I'm just happy that this horse, Rebels Romance, is okay. Coming out of that race, I think the horse is totally fine. Lifetime at the distance, 6 for 5. 5 for 7 last year. People remember this was your Breeders' Cup winner. I think the horse gets back into form here, ends up winning. Some interesting other entries here, though, for Bill Mott. Warlike Goddess is here. I love at these distance races when you know what you've got in a filly or mare like this, in a 6-year-old mare, especially with Warlike Goddess. I think she's got a serious shot here. Ran in that Glen Falls last time out. lost to McCulloch at the distance, but his 6-for-8 lifetime does have a 105. Ran in that Turf Classic Invitational in this race last year and won it.
Yep.
So she's very much capable of doing that. They ran her back. I don't know if people remember. She ran third in the Breeders' Cup Turf, man. Like straight up ran her against the boys. She was there. She was worthy. I think she absolutely has a chance here. The horse in this race that I cannot figure out is the 2-horse Soldier Rising. It's a British bred, trained by Christophe Clement. Ran second last time in the Sword Dancer over Yielding Go at Saratoga. If we get better conditions, I think the horse has a much better shot. Has only won once, but has finished second 4 times. Sometimes in these longer races for horses going this amount of distance over the turf, sometimes they just break through. So I would look at Soldier Rising as well. 5, 6, and 2 here in the Classic.
Soldier Rising actually finished in second 6 times. But yeah, that horse is and
was at the distance. I'm sorry, at the distance.
Yeah, at the distance. Yeah,
yeah. Sorry. You're right.
It was in this race last year as well. So, is this a horse that just want to finish second, or is it a horse that can break through? But maybe it's definitely a play potentially for exotic bets.
And I didn't even mention Stone Age, who finished, right behind Rebels Romance in that Breeders' Cup Turf last year at Keeneland. Is that a horse that can jump up for Irad and Chad? Have we heard of that one before? So, that's another one. These 1.5-mile races. If you can beat Rebels Romance, this is where you can make money on the card at Aqueduct on Saturday.
And I don't really like Adamo that much, but I mean, you got Flavian and Chad Brown on that at 10-1.
It's at 10-1, yeah, right.
And it's an Irish horse. If it's wet at all, who knows? So.
In this field, a horse like Adamo across the board is not a bad bet.
No. Grade 2, then the Woodward Stakes, $400,000 race, mile and 1/8 on dirt. Louie, where did you settle here?
Do you think of the Woodward or the Lucas as the more prestigious race? They're both grade 2s and they're both running on Saturday. I think of the Woodward as a little more prestigious because I think the Lucas is more of a younger race.
The Lucas is definitely a newer race. And so I would say probably the Woodward. Yeah, because you're still getting the horses that are coming out of the Saratoga meet that are more likely probably to go to the Woodward Stakes than the Lucas Stakes. I don't know if this is particularly a really, really good field. I mean, we've seen incredible fields here, but we are seeing some horses that I'm going to be really like. I really want to see what Zandon's going to do.
I agree with you.
And here, I mean, this is really the whole thing for me is like, is Zandon going to step up here or not? And
he's capable, right? But a lot of second places, 3 for 3 going second this year. I'm going to try to beat Zandon in this race for that reason with the 1 charge it. So not a huge upside here, 7-2. You get Johnny V, you get Todd Pletcher. They're 2 for 4 their last 4 runs in this kind of meet at the Belmont at Big A meeting. Horse ran last time at 1 mile and 1/8 in the Whitney, just didn't have it. Before that, though, in the Suburban at Belmont, over 1 1/4 miles, the horse wins. And so I do wonder if getting back to that Long Island type of surface over 2 turns will be a better layout for this horse. So I'll go with the 1 here. Charged on top. I do have Zandon in the second spot. The horse I cannot figure out, Mike, and part of it is I'll have to go back and watch more replays. But is Algiers going to be part of the equation in this one? Bill Buick, Simon Crisford. This horse is shipping in from the Arabian Peninsula, having ran second in the Dubai World Cup last out. Bit of a layoff here. Not a ton of success for Christopher bringing horses over in their first start here, but this is a horse. If it wins the Woodward, look for them to end up in the Breeders' Cup Classic because they've been running in that Arabian Peninsula. And then frankly, if you win the Woodward, I think it's one of those races that even though it's not a win and in, the Vosburg is, for example, I think it's the kind of race that qualifies you for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I don't disagree. If nothing else, both of these races are kind of previews for what could happen in the Clark Handicap. So,
right. I think that's a good point too, Mike. You make a really good one. And I think that more of the horses in this race are figuring out if they're going to be good enough for the Breeders' Cup Classic, whereas in the Lucas this year, I think you're right. They're figuring out who's going to run the day after Thanksgiving at Churchill Downs.
So just to go back again, the prestige of this race, and it goes back all the way back to 07 with Lawyer Ron. Curlin won this race. Rachel Alexander won this race. Havre Grace won this race. Mucho Macho Man came in second. Liam's Map, Charmin's Ghost, Gun Runner, Yoshida, Gunnavera came in second. Ball Harbor came in second. Art Collector, Maxfield won 2 a couple years ago. Life is Good won this race last year. That's a serious list of horses for a grade 2. I mean, for a grade 2, that is a serious load.
Some of these, the grading system I don't totally understand, but the Woodward's way up there for me. And kudos to Naira, by the way, getting that $400,000 purse together. It's very much worthy of that.
Man, I mean, seriously, that's fantastic. So, are we done? We're done out at Belmont. We're going to go to Churchill, and we're going to start with the Jefferson Cup Stakes.
And just a reminder, too, for people listening, we do have all of our cards up, goldbookbets.com. Go check those out. We'll have all of Aqueduct, all of Churchill ready for you on Saturday, alongside Santa Anita handicapping as well. So all day hanging out there, and then we'll have a bunch of college football games. If you happen to be in the Commonwealth, you'll be able to bet on those. And so check that out, goldbookbets.com. We'll have the 3 tracks, all those games, just $5 for you to jump in.
The Jefferson Cup Stakes, 1 mile on the dirt, 3-year-olds at stake here, $200,000. Who do you like in this one? Louie.
I like good luck, Louie. You're never going to figure this one out. I don't know why. The favorite just ran at Kentucky Downs. Do we take the Kentucky Downs run for breaking their maiden to be like a transition to this race? I don't know.
Turf to dirt?
Yeah, going turf. No, it's turf to turf.
Okay. My show notes must be wrong then.
You're fine. Oh, did I? I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Yeah.
And so, it's on the turf. My fault. And so, I don't know. Christian Torres does get the mount on More Than Looks, the 7 here for Cherie DeVoe. Horse won the grade 3 Manila already this year at Belmont, going a mile. We get to go a mile here. Has never missed the board at the distance. Ran in that Hall of Fame last out behind Carl Spackler, who looks to be the very best turf miler in the country. So I would lean more on More Than Looks, the 7, than I would on Noises Off, the 4, if you were looking for a winner in this race. I do think the 2 horse here, Tiverton, is interesting. Coming over into North America, and I'm not at all sure, frankly, with Decky Cannon and the way that he's riding, that it's worth doing right now. He's not riding well, unfortunately, at Churchill Downs. He had a great summer at Ellis and a really fine meet at Kentucky Downs. If he can put it together with this horse, though, who's running a bunch of different spots, but not very quickly, unfortunately, might be interesting. But it just feels like with Connor Murphy, that might be the kind of horse that jumps up and hits the board. So just kind of watch with Tiverton, first time in North America, as well on Saturday.
All right. The ACAC, the world famous ACAC. Louis?
This is ACAC Saturday, not Lucas Saturday, right?
Oh, man, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm going to go. I mean, the Lucas, even though it's a younger race, has had some winners, and so is this race. So
because I know my boy Senor Buscador has won this thing.
Senor Buscador has won this. Mr. Money has won this. Seeking the Soul, awesome. Tom's Ready. There's horses in this one as well too. I do think that the list of horses that have been in the Lucas is probably a little bit more impressive, and I think the Lucas Classic, even though it's a newer race, is definitely starting to make its way of being the star of this day. The ACAC is a great race though too. There's definitely no doubt about it.
All right, so do you have the past winners of this race? What did you say?
I do.
Senor Buscador. Did Maxfield win this race?
No.
Okay, go ahead then.
Senior Buscador was last year. Plainsman the year before.
Plainsman, that's right.
Mr. Money, Mr. Freeze, Seeking the Soul. That's your last 5.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
ACAC, by the way, is a mile for 3 and up. This is a win and in for the Breeders' Cup mile. Zozos is in here. 1 for 2 at Churchill, 2 for 2 at the distance. I have him on top because of the record at the distance. And by the way, the record at the distance, includes a win in the Knicks Go this year for him over Capuna and 3 Technique. 3 Technique is in this race. Man, I almost put 3 Technique on top because I do think this horse is really starting to figure out what he is. Wins the grade 2, John Nehrude last out at Belmont, over 7 furlongs. Give him a little bit of time off here, a couple of months in the Jason Cook barn. Interested because I do think, I don't know what it is, but Rafa Bejarano, man, that guy just picks off these races once in a while with horses that you look back and you go, oh yeah, he's won twice at Churchill. Oh yeah, he's won twice at the distance. Oh yeah. And he did finish behind Zozos by quite a margin back in May, but I think he got going a little bit better by the time he got to the end there. I'd be interested to see, because he ran in this race last year, ran third. Can he improve on that from last year? Interested to see that. Obesos is in here. Another horse that if you're sort of more casually into horses, you would recognize from a run in the Kentucky Derby. A good fifth, by the way, under Marcelino Pedrosa. Comes in here. I think the reason that he's more interesting here to me is because he's under Tyler, who's
right
running as well as anyone at Churchill. So I think Obesos is a must include here, a son of Orb. Minor show trivia was the first Kentucky Derby I got to go to in person. And so I got to see him win there. Do you want to hear a funny Orb Kentucky Derby story?
I would love to.
So there was a very annoying woman standing next to me in the grandstand at that Derby.
Kristen?
And she was wearing a very white dress. And then a flash storm came through.
I remember the flash storm.
And soaked all of us. And she had just been chirping the whole day. She was very unpleasant. I really didn't care for this woman. And then she got soaked in this rainstorm. And I looked right at her and I smiled and I said, "Oh, that's what you look like under that dress." And then I never talked to her again. So that's my Orb story. How about that?
Okay, there you go. There's your Orb story. All right.
There you go. So 5-3-2 in that race. I think if you wanted to look at a longer shot there, outside of those, Stage Rider's interesting here. Stage Raider, excuse me, for Cherie DeVoe. Did win last out and last asking in the Chad Brown barn. Comes over to the Cherie DeVoe barn, coming out of that Cowboy Jones race at Ellis Park. So won a stakes, going kind of 2 turns over that 1 mile. Cotto Rivers in here, man, and that horse, unfortunately, I think has run his best races. Did run in the Knicks Go this year. Up the track, frankly. Decky Cannon gets them out here for Wayne Lucas. I just don't think is going to get there. That might be it, though, man. I wish there were someone else. Maybe Seize the Night, who was in that Jenkins as well, ran third. I think if you're going to run with any horses here, 5-3-2 will probably cover you in longer tickets.
All right. The Lucas Classic that we have been mentioning is the $500,000 Lucas Classic. It's a mile and 1/8. You're got some great horses coming up here, including Rattle and Roll. But here's the winners here of the Lucas Classic. Okay. Last year was Hot Rod Charlie, the greatest horse of all time. Knicks Go won this race. Mind Your Biscuits won this race. So we've had some pretty decent winners in this one. Obviously, Rich Strike coming in second. Seeking the Soul also came in third in this race. I know that was the one crossover, I guess, between the 2 races that we've with this in the ACAC. So, Louie, Rattle and Roll. You've liked Rattle and Roll in the past. Is Rattle and Roll your pick in this one?
He is the top pick for me here. He's just a gamer. Last time he was at Churchill in the Blame, he had all kinds of – what's that?
No, I was just doing the Blame thing.
Yeah. Last time he was here was in the Blame. That was 2 weeks after the Pimlico special, and he just charged through no issues at all, frankly, with any of the traffic, any of those things. Seems to really like Churchill Downs. Never missed the board there. Does have a 100 speed figure in that Blame this year. Runs in the Foster at Ellis. I think if that Foster, by the way, is at Churchill Downs, he wins the Foster and he's a grade 1 winner. I think the move to Ellis affected him enough that he didn't win that. No, he wins to West Willpower, loses to West Willpower, who there's no shame in that at all. Yeah, right. And so, we were at that, all the 3 of us at the Pimlico special this year. Probably one of the coolest finishes I've ever seen in person between him and Speed Bias. But, keeps Brian Hernandez Jr. here, who is not winning a lot, but is crushing the board this meet at Churchill Downs. So I do have him on top for sure. Went outside of the 9, American Revolution, and I'm including him not because of recency, but rather because of Tyler. You get Todd Pletcher, you get Tyler here. The 2 of them don't connect very often, but they do at 18%. I don't think it's an accident here that they gave him a bunch of time off after running in September last year in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, at Saratoga. Gave him the time off, bring him back in a mile race against State Breds in New York. Loses to Dr. Ardito, who was the second favorite last weekend in a stakes at Belmont, at Aqueduct. And so I think they think enough of this horse to include him here. He gets a little bit of weight relief because he hasn't won in a while. And so interested to see if he runs a bit better here. He did run a 108 one time in the Foster last year behind Olympiad. And so interested if he can recapture some of that at Churchill Downs. I have him in the second spot. And then I went to Happy American on the inside, the one horse here. James Graham gets them out here. He ran third by 2 lengths in that Stephen Foster and was in that blame and part of that traffic issue right behind Call Me Fast. Last time he was at Churchill Downs in the blame. And so interested to see if he can get a better trip here. He'll be charging at the end. He is all late speed. So if this thing gets a little out of hand up front, I think there's a chance that he picks up the pieces and you get an 8-1 kind of price. I don't think it's going to change from that because he hasn't won except once this year out of 6 runs. And the last time he won was in January at Fairgrounds in the Louisiana. So interested to see if he can bounce back here. But I do think you have a couple of horses who are the class of this race and will stick there as well.
You got a lot of horses in this race that have got Grade 1 experience. American Revolution, I believe, is the only one with a Grade 1 win and winning the cigar. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those races right there where, this feels like a pretty decent Grade 2. You got horses that
Captain ran really well in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He was 4th, but only by 2 1/4 lengths under IRAD. Moved to the Chad Summers barn. I'll be interested to see how he comes out of the Chad Summers barn. They've been training him in New York. The numbers look good on the training. I haven't watched any of those, I'll be very honest. Clapton's interesting, the 2-horse here. Christian Torres is coming into his own, has won 20% of his mounts already at Churchill Downs. The guy's becoming an absolute star in the sport. We interviewed him on Nissel and Louie ahead of Kentucky Downs preview day. And really nice guy, rooting for him, Puerto Rican jock. Can Trademark jump up out of that really good run last out behind Wayland Springs? Can Wayland Springs jump out under Jose Ferrer, having won a Grade 3 last out, ran second in a Grade 3 before that in the Monmouth Cup? Can they translate that from Monmouth to Churchill Downs? To be seen, but I would lean way more on Rattle and Roll than I would on those other horses.
I like it a lot. All right, Louie. Good show today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And we're going to pay the tab. We're going to get out of here. And thanks to Dinerman. Thanks to Zach. And we'll see you next time on the Horse Racing Happy Hour.